The fucking Oath Keepers.
God.
You think I'm fucking joking?
No, I know
Opie,
you're not.
Opie and Anthony, who were always like pushing the boundaries on what was tasteful on radio, just like Stern had done it before him, and like Limbaugh had done for the political side of things, and back in the day, the same thing could be said for Lockwood and all those guys. They were pushing the boundaries of the Cronkites and the whatnots, the quiz show bullshit. Like it's all just a distortion of a distortion of a distortion. Like, but to get back to my original point with that, it like, and I've all of a sudden lost my train of thought.
Welcome to my world. This is what it's
But
like for me
okay,
constantly.
well, no, I mean, I saw something
Welcome to the
shiny.
show, Braden.
I saw something shiny. No, but
Again,
that's
it's
what I
my
mean.
world.
Okay, there's a good example. This is like I'm gonna sit there and make fun of that. Okay, is the fact that I lost my train of thought, but that's okay. Like, you know, that shit's all right. Like, one thing that kids joke about all the time now is ADHD and the fact that everybody like, oh, I have it. Like, I don't.
No.
Okay, there's legit ADHD, and I've seen that, and that shit's not something to joke about. Like, we all kind of go, ha ha ha, I'm OCD. Remember how we were all OCD because like we liked our paper clips in a certain cup?
But we're not all like Mark Summers
Right. Like
or Howie Mandel.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like we're not nuts like that. Like not nuts. Like and see that's offensive.
Extremists. It's an extreme, and it's not like they're imposing it necessarily. It's just that's how they are, and they
Yeah.
can't
Yes.
control that. It's
Right. Exactly. And it's one of those things like, we make those jokes in the sense that, oh, we don't know anybody who actually has OCD or actually has ADHD personally. Everything but we've heard like, the stereotypes and like, we've heard like the descriptions and read online. But until you meet somebody like that, and somebody who has a severe case of it, and like, you really don't know. And like just how debilitating that can be and how messed up all of a sudden all your jokes have been. And I'm very guilty of doing that of making jokes. The problem is the people who keep making those jokes despite knowing better, and the ones that will sit out there and go, oh well, I shouldn't be, no, like you once said something, the either or kind of like whataboutism, like, oh well, you were racist when you did this. It's like, yeah, but now I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Like, I've grown as a person. Oh, like.
But see, that's honestly my problem with cancel culture. I think there's a difference between accepting responsibility. Like Andy and I, we were talking about the Marilyn Manson thing, and at the time I was sort of like, like, oh, I hope this isn't a cancel culture thing. Like, because I always want to, I don't want to necessarily doubt the victim, but I do always want to make sure that, people can say all kinds of shit. And I just want to make sure that if we're going to hold someone to consequences, that there's some legitimacy to it.
I think,
and I think the problem with cancel culture is sometimes we hold people to consequences that we haven't established are necessarily there. And also too, like lots of people have lost legitimate like positions. Like people that have gotten shut off YouTube or whatever for something that they said or was misinterpreted, and all of a sudden now they're blackballed. And it's like, or they just said something that's not necessarily racist, but it's borderline, and it's like, or not necessarily not even racist, but like it's just borderline edgy for some reason. And now all of a sudden this person doesn't have an income, and that's sort of like. That's the part of cancel culture I don't like. I fully believe that people need to be held accountable for their shit, but at the same time, like, let's hold them accountable when there's some shit to be held accountable for.
No, I think where cancel culture comes in handy, and the only time that people get canceled is when they're not willing to admit that they made a mistake, and like new shit comes to light. That's when like I don't think it becomes cancel culture until you get to the point where they're non apologetic about it, or they're not understanding about it. Like you think about fucking Amber Heard, you think about like fucking
And Kevin Spacey would be a good example
Kevin
too.
Spacey. Like, yeah, that's a great example. Like, the guys who are just, belligerent about it, like, no, like I'm not gonna. If you just come out and say, yeah, you know what, I fucked up. Like, I'm sorry. I should have been better than that, and I wasn't. If you can come out and admit fault at this point, people are like, oh, no, okay, all right, cool. Like, no, you came out and we called you out on your shit, and you answered, and you said, all right, yeah, you know what? I could have handled that better. And there's that pride to it, and there's that. No, I'm not like I'm not racist. I'm not like that. We all want to think that we're not racist and we're not sexist and we're not ageist. We fucking are, and all of us are. Like, we are all in, and we just don't know it in the way, like, we can't even see it sometimes. And we won't see it until 20 years from now. All right?
Yeah.
And, like, I think about some of the shit that I said in college, on college radio. I think about some of the shit that I said on ZLX, right? Here, I'm going to take this down because it's fucking bothering me. Sorry. This is my Ray French jersey, by the way.
Nice.
Not a basketball fan anymore, but still, nice.
All right.
Shit, did we freeze up again? God damn it. There it is.
The way that thought in my head, like, and we originally started talking about that, but it leads us down tangents. Is because all of a sudden we find ourselves down a wormhole and we're talking about alcohol, Metallica, and fucking Bobby Heenan. And, like, those are things that we fucking know, the references, right?
Yeah.
Kids get those fucking references, too. We all get those fucking references in the time that they're playing, in the context that they are. Like, we can still like Bobby fucking Heenan, okay, even though Bobby Heenan did some pretty atrocious shit. Wrestlers on the come-up. Like, I got pictures with fucking Bill Cosby. I got pictures with fucking, like, with people when I was working at ZLX with, Kevin Spacey. I got pictures with all sorts of these people who were just celebrities. And I'm just like, they just hadn't been caught yet. Like, we all haven't been caught yet. And that's okay. It's what happens after we get caught in cancel culture. It's how we handle it. And it's just being called out on your shit. If you can't handle being called out on the fact that, hey, you might have said something racist, even without knowing, you can say, oh, yeah, I didn't know. Like, I didn't know, I'll try to be better. That usually is enough. If you're not, like, a complete, like, if you're not working on a vendetta, you're fine. All right? If you're not actively going out and looking for trouble, you're fine. Like, you can't say stupid shit. Like Opie and Anthony, like, we knew they were saying stupid shit and people were going to take that shit seriously. Because after Opie and Anthony split, Anthony Camilla, who's Anthony in the whole thing, starts up his own, like, podcasting network, radio show, satellite thing, right? Because O&A went the same way that Stern went with Sirius and everything else. But then they split when Anthony had allegations against him for being a fuckwit or whatever he was. I think it was at the time it was racist.
Like video that came out of him like fucking with his girlfriend or something.
Right.
I remember. He was getting real violent or some shit.
Yeah, some bullshit. Some real fucked up shit. And he got canceled. Everybody was like, okay, O&A are done. Awesome. And I remember, like, working at BCN at the time that O&A were, like, being syndicated there, and I was just like, man, this shit is just fucking hateful. And everyone's like, oh, it's harmless. Well, Anthony gets pissed off because, he loses the gig of a fucking lifetime because he was a fuckwit, and, rightfully so. And that spurs him, so he starts hiring people like that. Okay, the people that have been canceled or have been, like, that becomes O&A's. It was already kind of their thing about, like, inappropriate humor and all the other shit that, like, that was their shtick, if we want to be, like, with it. And they did that. So he started going after those people who had gone too far and who people had, like, kind of, like, bristled against or full on called out for being racist because they were. And he started putting those people on the air. And who's the leader of, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, Gavin something or other. He's the leader of the Oath Keepers. He was put on and given a show, like, the afternoon, like, he became the star of Anthony Camilla's, like, satellite programs. Like the O&A guy, like the Oath Keepers guy, the guy in charge of starting the Oath Keepers. Started off as a fucking joke. As people like, oh yeah, we're the Oath Keepers. Like, we're the ones that will keep the oath of, being as edgy as we possibly can be because, we grew up that way. Like, and that we shouldn't have to apologize for who we are. It's like, no, you should apologize for actively being a dick about it. I don't care, like, what you think. Okay? You can be as hateful as you want to be in your own fucking head, as long as it stays in your own fucking head. But if you start spreading that shit around and, like, turning people against other people, like, that's fucked up. And kids nowadays won't have that. Like, O&A would never be big now. Like, thank God. But go ahead.
The only thing I see, though, is that there are people who get caught up in it who don't deserve to get caught up in cancel culture. And obviously people like Bill Cosby, Marilyn Manson, people who legit fucked up, they deserve to get canceled. Or part of the problem too is like you now assume that okay, Bill Cosby or Marilyn Manson are never going to atone for themselves and get better. So now canceling them, you're kind of assuming that person's never going to get better. That kind of sucks. But what I think sucks more than that is like people like I know a YouTuber or someone who used to be on Twitch who got canceled, and she's African American, and she came out and said that she voted for Trump, and she basically got canceled, got called a racist for it, and got taken down off Twitch, and she got canceled because of something completely bullshit. So my only point is here, there are people out there getting canceled for legit reasons, and I fully support that, but my issue with cancel culture is all of those not so legit reasons, and unfortunately there's quite a few of them. So I just don't want our society to get so overly sensitive that we start canceling people for bullshit.
No, I think you got it. You've got it right. Like it does happen where people get caught up in it, and there's this rush to be first. And you think about like what happened to like Al Franken, and you think about like things where we get to a certain sensitivity with some subject, and you might just one of the things I love about the internet is that you treat it like a game. Like the internet is a game that everybody plays, and the goal of the game is never to be it. Then there's one it every day, and that guy, whoever it is, just gets just the hammer brought down on them. And it might be Marilyn Manson, correctly so, but if it's a slow fucking news day and they need somebody to go after, all right, and somebody gets caught up in it, and all of a sudden there's nothing else going on, but we all get wrapped up into this one story, whether it be Arnie fucking Hammer or it's some shit that we can't even fucking believe. It's just like, well, everybody's talking about it anyway. Yeah, it might be bullshit, but we're still saying the name, right? Like it might be cancel culture. It might be one of those things where your friend who's on Twitch, right? All I need to hear is, no offense to you, okay, or your friend, because I don't know her, okay. But all I hear is that she voted for Trump. And I hear that in my, stereotypical ass, my hateful ass goes, oh, I would hate this person. I don't know that. I can't automatically say I'd hate this person. I can think, well, they are racist. And because to support Trump, you kind of have to be. And that's my personal feeling, okay? And we're all racist anyway. Some of us just aren't actively so. And some of us don't even mean to be, but we are. It doesn't mean that we're off the hook. And if we're going out there and going, well, I voted for Trump. Okay, why is that a fucking feather in your cap right now? Like, that doesn't excuse anything. Like, like, why is like that supposed to, mean anything positive to me at this point? Like, if you come out and it's not about if you voted for Trump. It's about if you came out and said something stupid, and then not acknowledge the fact that you said something stupid, all right, and you continue to double down on that shit, you deserve everything you got coming to you. And even if you get called out on something specific, like let's say, oh, I don't know what happened to your friend, but I've had friends who get called. I've been called out for being a racist, and I was being a racist. I didn't realize it at the time, but the pride in me was just like, no, I'm not racist. Nope, I wouldn't do anything like that. And then I went and I got somebody else's perspective on it, and I was like, oh. But the thing is that I went and got somebody else's perspective on it. I took that next step. I took that step and said, wait, I need to get another ruling on this to see if I fucked up. And you shouldn't stop at just one. You should keep checking yourself, and you should keep kind of going, well, you know what? I can say, I didn't deserve to get canceled for that point. Everybody deserves to get canceled if they fuck up and don't apologize for it. And even if it gets close, if you get misconstrued, and I can be misconstrued 1,000 different ways, and I'll say, and I'll come on and I'll defend myself and say, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I can hear it now. I didn't hear it at the time, but I hear it now. And as long as you show some sort of atonement and you mean it, because you see those people who fake it, and you see those people who do the crocodile tears and bullshit, and it's more like drama for the TV, which they're fucking eating up because all of a sudden that they're it on the internet for the day, and they know their fucking followers counts is going to go through the fucking roof, and like people are going to buy up their shitty country music just because you said the N-word on a tape accidentally. Like, all that did for that guy, whose name I don't know and I don't ever want to fucking know, is like that country guy who said the N-word on a tape. Like, there's no way that makes it out unless they wanted it to get out. That's fucking street cred for that dude and his audience.